What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys the start of a brand new series. We're going to be listing the top 5 Pokemon over the course of the next month or so of every single type. We got the top 5 bug Pokemon in today's video. We're going to be doing the top 5 dark Pokemon, the top 5 poison Pokemon, the top 5 dragon, fire, grass, water, electric, psychic, normal, you name it. We got everything. We're going to list all these in videos. I'm going to try and go over like pretty good movesets for each Pokemon because you guys would be surprised how often I get asked like, what's a good water Pokemon using this team? And I can list like 5 or 6 and they're like, and now I need a set for it. And I give them a set and they're like, and then what nature? And so it'd be a lot easier a lot of the time if they're like, hey, you need a water Pokemon? Here's a video that says 5 great ones and then you can pick. And also guys, I want to know if you guys agree with my list, please let me know in the comments below. But I actually want to hear your list in the comments below. There's not that many bug Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I think there's like, we're talking about full evolutions, there's probably only about like 6 or 7, I would think. So it's going to be pretty easy to get 5 of those right, but let's see if you get those 5 in the same order as me and for the same reasons as me. So like I said, we're going to be starting this off with bug Pokemon. I'm going to try and do this in alphabetical order, so I think the next one up is probably going to be dark. So if you guys like dark Pokemon, the next video should be pretty good. So the way we're going to do this is similar to my team building videos. I'm going to go into my Pokemon box, and we're just going to start grabbing these Pokemon out. I'm going to paste them in my order that I wrote them down, which is a secret until the end of the video. The first Pokemon, though, is going to be Scyther. And we're going to add Scyther to the team here. Sorry, Caterpie, Scyther's just a little bit better bug-type Pokemon than you. So, as you guys can obviously tell, Scyther has 2 types. It's bug flying. All the Pokemon on these lists are going to have multiple types, and that's sometimes what makes them a better type. Like, arguably, Scyther's flying, wow, that is a tongue twister. Scyther's flying typing isn't really doing any favors, but if we think about a Pokemon like Starmie, for example, it's a really good water type. Its psychic type really does help it out, being able to be super effective against a lot of these, like, grass, poison Pokemon. So, that's a good example. We're gonna get into that stuff later on, but right now we're starting off with Scyther. I think Scyther is the 5th. We're starting at the bottom of the list. 5th best bug Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So we're gonna talk about some common natures for Scyther. We're just gonna look at my Scyther. I do not recommend lonely nature, but it's just whatever nature my Scyther is. Some common natures for Scyther, since people always want to say, what would you use if you used Scyther? I'd probably go with an adamant nature on Scyther. Adamant, obviously, gonna be raising your attack, lowering your special attack, but you could also go with a couple other natures. Jolly's another pretty good one. It's gonna raise your speed and lower your special attack, but Scyther actually is really, really good. You might even be able to make arguments for like a careful or impish natured Scyther, and Scyther's actually like not that bad a Pokemon. The reason why it's so low on the list is because it doesn't get access to its Mega Evolution or even its regular evolution in Scizor. So it's just base Scyther right here. You can see pretty good attack stat, and you can see moveset I have on deck here. It's going to be Roost, Light Screen, Brick Break, U-Turn. The main reason Scyther is even on the list is because of U-Turn here. So after making its attack, the user rushes back to switch places with a party Pokemon and waiting. So what that's going to do, you may think that that's kind of weak. It's only a 70 base, but what it's going to let you do is if I send out the Scyther, and Scyther can potentially KO one of your opponent's Pokemon, or it has a good move against one of your opponent's Pokemon, or Scyther threatens that Pokemon, we know that they're going to switch, or even if they're low enough health that I can just go in for a U-turn, Scyther's going to be able to hit them, and they're going to be able to send out any Pokemon you want and have just a great field position. It's a great move for keeping up tempo and keeping up, like, correct board state, because, like, let's say I know you have, like, a really low HP Pokemon. I'm going to send out my Scyther, Scyther's going to go for the U-turn, and it's going to let me switch out into something, because if, like, let's say if I just brick broke that Pokemon and KO'd it, you'd be able to send out your Aerodactyl or your Charizard, and you would have pinned my Scyther. But as it stands, you know, I can send out Scyther, go for a U-turn. If you decide to save that Pokemon by switching to your Aerodactyl turn early, well then I can just U-turn out into the thing that checks Aerodactyl, and you're still on the back foot, and the whole time, if I have Stealth Rocks up on you, you're going to be taking huge Stealth Rocks damage, and that's exactly the type of playstyle that Scyther's one of the best Pokemon at executing. It stabs U-turn, it's one of the best U-turn users. We're going to talk about some common TMs that Scyther can learn now. I'm going pretty in-depth here, guys. Going pretty in-depth. And remember, you guys can leave your top 5 list. You guys can leave all your movesets. And, you know, I really want to hear that in the comments. So please, 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 let me know if you guys like how I'm doing this video so far. And if you guys want to see more. So we're going to talk about some common moves that a lot of these Pokemon can learn. Scyther doesn't really learn that many moves. It doesn't get like Drill Run, it doesn't get Dig, it doesn't get Earthquake. It gets Facade. Facade can be kind of useful. It doubles its power if you're Poison Burn or Paralyzed. So if you switch it on Thunder Wave, switch it on Toxic, get Will-O-Wisp, it's going to make it really, really strong. It's actually one of Scyther's, it doesn't stab the Facade, but it's actually one of Scyther's biggest moves. And Scyther doesn't really have that many moves that it's you know, really gonna need to fill its moveset with. Note that I filled my moveset with like Roost and a Light Screen. Facade can definitely make sense on there. It'd be really nice if Scyther could get these like Fire Punch, Ice Punch type moves. It can't even get Fly, which is like its main physical stab. So like I said, Scyther has a really hard time, can't get Ice Punch or anything. It can get Headbutt, but I think in this situation you'd still be better off with Facade. Gets Light Screen, obviously. Can't learn Outrage. It can't even learn Reflect. Note they can only learn Light Screen. I think that's actually kind of fine because think about what Scyther resists. It's a flying type, and then other than that, you know, it's a bug flying, so it's really going to be already resisting physical, like fighting type attacks and stuff like that, so it doesn't really need the Reflect. Light Screen's actually a really decent choice on Scyther if you guys haven't tried it. It doesn't get Play Rough. Note that Scyther, guys, is a physical attacker. It's not going to get Rock Slide. Obviously, it gets the Roost. Not even going to get these regular attacks over here. I'm just going down most of the list. It can't even learn Superpower, which is kind of lame because in Gen 4, Scizor can learn Superpower, which was kind of lame. So if Scyther could have Superpower, it would definitely have it. It can definitely learn Sub, and other than that, it can't learn Taunt. And it can learn X-Scissor. X-Scissor is an 80 base power move. I think if you have the option to have X-Scissor and U-Turn, you can probably cut one of those for like Sub or something like that. I think you only really need the U-Turn on Scyther. Don't really need the X-Scissor, even though it's kind of like its staple move. It can't learn Mega Horn. That'd be really nice because it's a 120 bug move. But, you know, I think Scyther has exactly what it needs. It can't even learn Poison Jab. This guy does not learn that many TMs, which, again, is another reason why Scyther is pretty low on the list. So, that's Scyther. Like I said, you gotta go for those Adamant, gotta go for those Jolly. But if you can find the reasons to go for, like, a Careful or Impish Nature, those also work. I've also seen people, I'm just gonna put it out there, go for, like, a Hasty Scyther or a Naive Scyther and go with, like, Air Slash to get that flying stab, because his special attack isn't super low. So, that might be an option. Maybe you guys are going to talk about it in your own sets. So, we're going to move on to the next Pokemon on my list. The next Pokemon on my list, the fourth best bug Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Believe it or not, I think it's actually Butterfree. You may be thinking like, you're the Butterfree guy. How is Butterfree not your numero uno? Well, this is being rated from, like, a competitive standpoint. This is, you know, I love Butterfree. It's my favorite Pokemon in the game, but we're looking at all these based off their usefulness in competitive play, how good they are, and Butterfree, while it has, like, great movesets, a really unique playstyle, it just doesn't have the base stats to back it up. So we're going to check out Butterfree. This is actually like a pretty much flawless Butterfree. We have Timid. You have to be Speed Ninja on this Pokemon because it only has a 70 base speed. It's very, very slow, and you need to be Timid. Otherwise, you're just not even going to outspeed stuff, even at like +2. We're going to look at some of the moves. Note that I have Bug Buzz, Psychic, Sleep Powder, Quiver Dance. Some people like to cut the Psychic. I think it can learn moves like Shadow Ball. We're going to go into the movesets in a second, but you need the Bug Buzz, you need the Sleep Powder, and you need that Quiver Dance. Quiver Dance will make this Pokemon good. The user lightly performs a beautiful Mystic Dance, boosting special attack, special defense, and speed. It's one of the best setup moves in the game, and Butterfree is one of the better Pokemon at pulling it off. But note that it's only the fourth best bug Pokemon. You guys have seen me use this Pokemon a bunch of times. It's one of my favorites, and you know, I'm going to continue to use it because it is one of my favorites. We're going to go looking at some of the moves that Butterfree can learn. I also wanted to say that there's like Bug Buzz, Psychic. I have the Psychic on there so you can like deal with fighting types and other stuff like that. Like obviously, what is Bug not good against? Like, you know, let's see. Sorry, what is Psychic not good against? Psychic's not good against Dark types. Well, Bug's super effective against Dark types. So Psychic attacks pretty much makes you like a pretty decent mixed attacker. We're just gonna look at some of the moves Butterfree can learn. Obviously, it's not learning Calm Mind. It's not learning Dark Pulse. I don't even think it's learning D-Gleam. Like Butterfree, we're just gonna go down the list. Like it can't really learn anything. It'll learn Headbutt, LOL. Can't learn any Ice attacks. Can't learn Screens. Like learn Mega Drain. Mega Drain is a decent example. Maybe you could cut Psychic from Mega Drain. Maybe some of you guys already do that. Mega Drain did get a boost and shit. It's a 75 base power. Pretty strong. But other than that, I got the Psychic on there. I don't even think Butterfree can learn like Sludge Bomb. Yeah, it can't learn Sludge Bomb. It can learn Shadow Ball. I wanted to talk about that. The only reason why you're not running Shadow Balls, anyone that ever wanted to run Shadow Ball on Butterfree, what are you hitting with Shadow Ball? You're hitting Psychic types, so you got Bug attacks for that. It's super effective. You're hitting Ghosts. What Ghost? You're hitting a Gengar? We already got Psychic on the other slot, and Psychic's stronger than Shadow Ball, and that's still super effective. So there's not really a reason to run Shadow Ball in this game, in this gen specifically. You know, maybe if it was like VGC Ultra Sun and Moon, you could talk about running Shadow Ball to hit like something like Lunala, who's 4 times weak to Ghost, but not in this game. We're going to look at the rest of the moves. Can learn Solar Beam, but I dare you to get that one off. Can't learn Thunderbolt. Can't learn Teleport. That's kind of cool. No Taunts. Can get Toxic, but again, you're trying to put things to sleep. And it can learn U-Turn, but I don't recommend it. And other than that, can't learn Thunder Wave, can't learn Mega Horn. Butterfree's, I think the moveset and the nature I have for Butterfree are about as perfect as you're going to get. I think the only arguments you can make is cutting Psychic for Air Slash, because it's the secondary stab. And, you know what? More power to you if you guys want to try. Go to Flinch Town, try your best. We're going to be moving on to the third best bug type. And I know I just talked about Butterfree. I know I talked about like Sleep Powder, Quiver Dance, setting up, sweeping. Well, we have a Pokemon that does it just a little bit better. Some of you guys are actually going to be surprised that this is actually number 3 on the list, but once you look at the list as a whole, it's going to make sense. We're actually looking at Venomoth here. Venomoth is going to be the third Pokemon. Don't regard my nature. As for natures for Venomoth go, Modest is pretty good. I actually really recommend a timid Venomoth. I think it should be speed nature because one of the reasons why Butterfree falls so short is because it has a 70 base speed. And even if you were to like double its speed in most cases, if you weren't timid, you know, it wouldn't even be faster at like +2 speed than things like Mewtwo and Aerodactyl. So Venomoth being a 90 base speed means you only need 1 Quiver Dance to outspeed all those super Pokemon. Like 90 base speed ain't no slouch if you're timid. So Venomoth being like a really, really fast version of Butterfree. They have the same base special attack. They both have 90 base special attack. And other than that, it plays exactly the same way Butterfree does. Like if you look at my moveset, this is not the correct moveset. My Venomoth is a placeholder. I don't have a Venomoth in game, but I've used one before. I know how it works. I know Venomoth is better in almost every single stat than Butterfree. And as much as it pains me to say it, it's just pretty good. Only notes that you can actually do for Venomoth instead of Butterfree is that Venomoth is a poison bug instead of a flying bug. So you can go Bug Buzz, Sleep Powder, Quiver Dance, and then your last move, sure, you can go Psychic. Sure, you can go Shadow Ball. I don't recommend it. Sure, you can go Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is actually a really decent option because it's a stronger move than most moves, and it's pretty good against a lot of Pokemon. You'd be really surprised because like bug moves aren't very good against fairy types. There's a few good fairies in this game, especially as you'll see as we get to our top 5 list for fairies. There's some pretty good fairies, and Sludge Bomb deals massive damage to those things. But still, I would recommend the Sleep Powder, Quiver Dance, Bug Buzz, and Psychic. I think it's perfect coverage. Gotta go Speed Nature on this guy and just try your best. We gotta add this thing to the team. Yeah, Venomoth, it's pretty much exactly the same as Butterfree, unfortunately, but you know, a lot of people do like Venomoth. I made a video about Venomoth a couple days ago and how like Bug Buzz goes through like subs and stuff like that. It's such a cool, unique move. It's actually, I went and looked, it's the only damage dealing sound move in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. There's no Boom Burst in this game. There's moves like Roar and Screech, those will go through your sub, but this is the only damage dealing one. There's no Hyper Voice in this game. It's just a pretty cool mechanic that a lot of people overlook. So we're going on to the second best bug Pokemon. The second best bug Pokemon in the game, and probably some of you guys thinking like there's only like 3 left, right? Which one's it gonna be? It's starting to get into that Mega Evolution territory, and we're actually gonna put Beedrill here. And some of you guys are like, you're crazy. You're crazy. How is Beedrill one of the best Megas in the game, not even the best bug type? Not even the best bug type. Well, Beedrill's really, really good, but what it does is it really locks you into being, it can only be played Mega. So if you have like an Aerodactyl Gyarados core with like Beedrill in it, or if you have like a, you know, like a Gengar Beedrill, you can't ever Mega Evolve with those things in any situation, unless you just want to fodder your Beedrill, because that's that useless. Beedrill has to be Jolly to outspeed those Mewtwo's, Aerodactyls, Gengars, things like that. It has to be Jolly. I'm pretty sure this is like a relatively flawless one. Yeah, look at that. Whew. So sick. There's my Beedrill right there. But yeah, Beedrill has to be Jolly. I'd recommend a moveset similar to this. Now, you do not have to use Protect. I was using this in doubles. But Drill Run, Poison Jab, U-Turn, these are staples on Beedrill. A couple other moves people like to use if you want another damaging move. You could go with X-Scissor. And the only reason why I'll recommend X-Scissor on this versus Scyther is this Pokemon's going to be using U-Turn a lot because it is very fast. It's actually only really going to be using U-Turn. And if you know that you're going to have Stealth Rock set up against you and you want to use one of your strongest attacks, and you don't always want to switch, maybe use the X-Scissor instead of Protect. But the last move I would actually recommend instead of Protect is Substitute. A lot of people aren't going to expect the Beedrill to use Sub. What they're actually going to do is you're going to send the Beedrill out, you're going to Mega Evolve. They're going to switch to the thing that they think walls the type of attack you're going to use. If they think, you know, if they think you're going to be using Drill Run, they'll switch to their flying type. And you can just sub, and then you can let the sub break, go for a free Poison Jab, and then you turn out the next turn. Maybe get a free KO, and it's all thanks to the move Sub. You know, if they think you're going to be using Poison Jab, maybe they'll switch into like a Steel type, or something to wall, you know, poison attacks, and then slap them in the face with a Drill Run. It's pretty good. So, Beedrill, really, really good, but it has to be Mega. I think Beedrill is probably, like, it's in the top 5 Megas for sure. we got a follow. I'm recording this at 1:00 at night, and we get a follow from Vulgar91. I want to disable that, right? I should disable it. It's a simple click of a button away. But I always want to take the time to thank the viewers that actually come to follow the channel. And I think that the people that come to follow the channel, even when I'm not streaming, I'm only recording, you people deserve extra thanks. So I'm just gonna keep that there. Also, you can see, like, on the right hand side, right under, like, my name, you can see, like, please leave a list of your top 5. You know, don't forget to subscribe, click that notification bell, and thanks for watching. Have a great day. But we're still doing the video. The video's not over. So yeah, has to be Beedrill. Beedrill's number 2. But you're thinking, who could be numero uno? Who could be numero uno? We'll get to that in just a sec. After we check out some TMs that these things can learn. I should probably do all these TMs things at last. But you know what? It's, you know, if you guys wanted me to do all the TMs last, you can see everything here. I can. Obviously, it gets Poison Jab. It's not that much of a bulk up user. Unfortunately, no Mega Horn, no Waterfall. And you made me think, like, that's you don't have all the TMs. I have all the good ones. If you guys have any questions about what can learn what, you can let me know. Note Toxic. I just want to say one thing about Toxic. A lot of you guys don't know this. Some of you guys might have learned this in the last video. Poison types can't miss Toxic. Toxic's 90 base accuracy, but Poison types can't miss it. And I heard someone say recently that that should be a shared mechanic with, like, Fire types with Will-O-Wisp, or you know, Electric types with Thunderwave. I think it should be a really cool. Option for a shared mechanic, at least on the Thunderwave part, because missing Thunderwave is really annoying. But if we're talking about Beedrill, unfortunately, like, it can't learn Taunt. It can learn Sub. It can't learn Superpower. Gets Sledge Bomb, but oh, that's only a physical attacker. It gets Roost. I've seen people use Roost on Beedrill. Doesn't get Rock Slide, unfortunately. Can get Reflect. That's you learn something new every day. Obviously, not going to get Play Rough. Can't get Light Screen. It can get Outrage, and the only Pokemon I'd see that almost being usable against is, like, Charizard X or Dragonite, and I only think it KOs those things after Rocks damage, on the Dragonite more so. I think Drill Run after Rocks okay with Charizard X, but if Dragonite's a problem for your team, maybe you put that last slot Outrage. It's very unseeable, but remember, you get locked into Outrage, so maybe that's a little bit dicey, maybe it's a little bit scary. Other than that, gets Headbutt. I don't want to use that. Fly's not any good, doesn't even get it. And no fire attacks. It gets the Facade, no EQ, no Dazzling Gleam. Gets the Drill Run, which is kind of, like, I take what I can get. This Pokemon shouldn't even get Drill Run, in my opinion. Like, Drill Run's busted, and Beedrill has no business packing Drill Runs. But it can get Brick Break too, but again, there's not that many Pokemon. There's no Pokemon in this game that are 4 times weak to fighting, so it's, like, not worth it at all. So, yeah, that's Beedrill. And we got one more Pokemon. The best bug Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Let's see if you guys can guess it. I know you guys had to have got it. I know that you guys had to have got it. It is my boy. If you guys watch my content, you know what I'm about. Yo, you know what I'm about. It's Parasect. It's always been Parasect. Now, I answer this question about 3 to 5 times every single day. Hey, THATSA, what nature is your Parasect? My Parasect is sassy. And when I say that to everyone with a happy smiley face, they say, why? Now is why. We're gonna talk about it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna look at my Ivies here. Now, I'd really like a couple more special D. I'd really like 1 more point in special defense. But note that my speed's really low, and you're saying, that's a why are you using such low speed? Why are you using a speed-reduced nature with even less speed? Why do you want to be worse? Why are you making yourself worse? I'll tell you why. Because actually, we're setting ourselves up for success here. We're going to go into details. We have Substitute, Leech Seed, Spore, Leech Life. So Substitute, what it's going to do, it's going to make a copy. It's going to take 25% of your health and make a little sub. And, you know, I've said it a million times. I've talked about sub a lot. You guys see subs all the time. Like, let's put some sub emotes up in chat, because sub is what this game is all about, at least in the singles part of the game. You know, setting up those free subs, getting those +1 turns, those +1 free turns to use Substitute. And the later you use sub with something that's already slow, the better. Let's say I have Parasect on the board, and you're just going to use an attack. You're like, well, let's say I send up Parasect, right? And you have a Blastoise, and you're like, all right, he's just gonna finish me off. I'm just gonna get KO'd. I'm just gonna use, like, Scald, whatever, or I'm just gonna use Psychic, or I'm just gonna use a move that's not super effective. Literally, anytime a Pokemon uses a move that's not super effective, you can use Sub or Spore. Both these moves fit in the same situation. Note the Spore is the only 100% accuracy sleep-inducing move in the game. And the later you use these, the better. Because let's say I was fast on this Pokemon, and I use Substitute, they're going to do 25%. They're going to break the sub. That's totally fine. if like that's what I wanted. But what I'd rather have is them hit me, I take about half, and then I pop the sub. And I set up the sub last. And so they have to spend their next turn trying to pick the sub. During that time, I can set up a free Leech Seed. I can set up a free Spore. Now, a lot of the time I send out Parasect, if they don't have a super effective move, I'm going to be able to use Spore. And since I use Spore on that turn, that going last, they've already attacked. So they attack me with a Psychic, with literally whatever they want. I take about half and I use Spore. And the way sleep turns work is they haven't actually started to become asleep. And you have to be asleep the first turn. I know I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this, but you have to be asleep the very first turn you get put to sleep. And if you go to sleep second, you haven't been asleep yet. So either they're going to switch or they're going to waste their first turn. During that first turn, you can set up a Leech Seed and it's free. They cannot wake up. They can't do anything. Either they're switching or they are going to be asleep. You can also take the turn to set up a sub if you have enough health. And so it's going to make it so going second with Parasect is just better than any other form of speed. You want to go as last as possible. You never want to go first with this thing. I mean, there might be a situation in which like you want to leech life, get someone really fast where they KO you, but very rarely is that the case. It's almost better in almost any situation to want to go last, set up a Spore, then set up a sub, then KO, and then you left with like a free sub, and they're down a Pokemon. Obviously, Leech Life's your last move here. 80 base stabbed, and it's more HP recovery. You guys have seen my videos. This Pokemon is like the best non-legendary Pokemon in the game. It's one of the best walls in the game. It has great defense, great special defense. Note that I use Sassy because its special defense gets about to the same level as its defense if you give it a boost. And this Pokemon is just so good. As for moves that can learn, that's the set. Use that set. Don't use any other ones. Like, you don't need any other sets. You don't even need to look at the TMs. That's the move set. So, guys, thank you for watching this very first episode of Top 5 Competitive Bug Pokemon in Let's Go. The only Pokemon we actually didn't use. There's only one other bug Pokemon in the game, I think, and it's Mega Pinsir. And we're going to have to use Pinsir in a video soon. And I think the main reason I decided to go with Scyther in my list over Mega Pinsir was because Mega Pinsir would take your Mega Evolution slots. And I think the fact that Scyther has a very similar playstyle, but also has access to U-Turn, just makes it better than Pinsir. They're almost identical in playstyle, but Scyther has a move that makes it way better, way more versatile, way easier to fit into a team, and it doesn't cost your Mega. So that's why Scyther works. Otherwise, Pinsir probably would have been my 5th Pokemon. But guys, thank you for watching. If you guys have any tips or tricks or ways that I could make this video any better, please leave a comment below. We're going to be trying to bust this out. Like, how many types are there? There's a lot of types. This should probably take about a month, because what I'm planning on doing, now this is my full-time job, I plan on going all of these like top 5 of each type for competitive play, and then like top 5 megas, top 5 physical attackers, top 5 sweepers. And I feel that these are in-depth enough that where I'm not just making like filler PokeTuber content. I feel you guys are actually learning something from this, and I'm talking a little bit about move sets and move choices that you can do. So guys, let me know what you guys think about this video. If you guys got this far, leave that in the comments as well. I'd really like to know if you guys actually watch the whole thing and if you guys want to see more of this type of content. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you had a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.